Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Joe Palmer begins now.
The owners of a Tasmanian poultry farm have been left devastated after a fire destroyed a barn containing thousands of chickens early this morning. Fire crews were unable to stop the blaze, which caused $1 million damage, but have been praised for managing to save an adjoining shed and thousands more birds from the same fate. And a warning, some viewers may find the following images distressing.
For the family who own and operate this Karula farm, this was a harrowing sight. Firefighters say they did all they could for the thousands of birds trapped inside.
Brigade got a call at 4:30 in the morning. Rochalee Brigade, Lilydale Brigade and our Rochalee volunteers responded, so 3 crews of 12 people all up. When they got here they found the building well alight. Obviously a chicken shed housing somewhere in the vicinity of 8,000 chickens.
The Tasmania Fire Service crews promptly turned their attention to preventing the inferno, believed to be sparked by a fault in a heater used to keep the baby chickens warm, from spreading even further.
The shed was fully engulfed, so they put all their resources into protecting the shed that was next door to it.
And their actions saved thousands more from perishing.
Obviously, you can see from in the background, they've saved the shed, which contained approximately another 8,000 chickens, so it kept the business going here.
The family-run farm has been in operation since 1898. Although too devastated to speak on camera today, the owners say all attention is now on salvaging what's left and rebuilding what was.
It's a heartbreaking thing, like this is obviously their livelihood, so to lose basically half their income from one of the sheds, it's going to take a bit to get over that.
The total damage bill is estimated to be around $1 million. Jessie Gilmore, 7 Tasmania News.
A 23-year-old man has been charged with arson following a fire which police say destroyed a Hobart house early this morning. The property is understood to have been used as a squatting residence, with witnesses hearing a fight before a mattress was allegedly set alight.
Thick smoke in the air, creating a scene in Hobart early this morning. Witnesses say they believe a mattress and blankets were set alight in one of these rooms at this property, creating chaos.
When the 2 crews arrived this morning, they found fire was billowing out of the front room of the premises. They quickly gained entrance and extinguished the fire. Power
to the house disconnected and the normally busy street shut off to traffic as crews did what they could to save the house and those neighbouring it.
Well, it was during peak hours, so it was a fair disruption to traffic.
Authorities say they received multiple 000 calls from people who could see this fire and its potential.
Oh, massive scene. The neighbours were out on the street. There was smoke bellowing from the roof. It was just absolutely insane.
While firefighters managed to target the blaze's hotspots, the snorkel was brought in to deal with threats still within the roof space.
We'll use the aerial appliance so they can safely work off that, remove tiles and finish extinguishing the fire.
No one was injured, but the damage bill is estimated at $600,000.
It's been empty for 5 years and people have been squatting in and out there all the time, fighting and all that.
Many residents here on Goulburn Street say they were woken early this morning by a commotion which lasted for more than an hour.
There were about 4, maybe 5 people standing out the front of the house. It sounded like threats, and then obviously within hours the house behind us was alight.
Louise Hedger, 7 Tasmania News.
The trial into the alleged 2017 murder of Risdon Vail tattoo artist Dwayne "Doc" Davies has continued in Hobart for its 2nd day. His wife and a close friend both already pleading not guilty to murder in the Hobart Supreme Court. Jurors today hearing from a number of former work colleagues as they took to the witness stand.
The trial into an alleged murder at this Elderslie property has continued for its 2nd day, investigating the 2017 death of tattoo artist Dwayne "Doc" Davies. His wife Margaret Ann Otto and friend Bradley Scott Perkis standing trial. Both have pled not guilty. The jury today hearing from a number of witnesses, many former work colleagues. Miss Otto's former boss at P&J Sheds at Mornington, telling the court she was a model employee, but saying about her relationship with Mr Davies there didn't seem to be a week that went by where an issue didn't arise. And sometimes she was upset about his aggression, not recalling whether it was physical or verbal. The court heard that in a previous statement to police, Ms Otto told him something along the lines of, she would have been better off if he wasn't in her life. After seeing media reports of his disappearance, the other colleagues told the court they recognised Miss Otto's car. The jury hearing Mr Purkis visited Miss Otto at work the day Mr Davies went missing, handing their CCTV footage to police. In the Supreme Court, the jury was shown CCTV footage from inside Miss Otto's work. It showed a male turning up to the reception. She then gave him a kiss on the cheek and they walked off together further inside the building. Late this afternoon, Mr Davies' colleague Andrew Gist described the fellow tattooist as up and down like a yo-yo. The court hearing Mr Davies may have had links to an outlaw motorcycle gang and could have been having financial difficulties. The trial continues tomorrow. Michelle Wisby, 7 Tasmania News.
Abuse of Australians in the disability sector will no longer be confined to the shadows, with the Royal Commission gearing up to shine a spotlight on the crisis. Tasmanian campaigners say the move is long overdue and are calling for the voices of the vulnerable to be heard.
Day one in a process that could take years. The Social Services Minister had this message for Australians with a disability who have suffered unspeakable crimes.
We hear you. The Morrison government hears you.
Today, those words have been put into action. The draft terms of reference have been released for a Royal Commission into violence, abuse, neglect and exploitation of people with a disability. Public consultation is now open and the Commonwealth is vowing to leave no stone unturned.
Not just in institutions where they may have been living, but also, for example, in schools, in the workplace. It will take as long as is necessary.
He's confident the Commission will be established before the federal election. That's welcome news for Tasmanian advocates.
Tasmania is not exempt to this issue. It is a widespread issue. We have the highest number of people living with disability in this state per head per capita.
Labor have been pushing for the Commission. Even with the election just months away, the party agrees it's above politics.
As with the NDIS, this should be an issue above politics. When it comes to the implementation of policy, then obviously there may be some differences.
Jane Wardlaw has heard far too many horror stories.
It is really disheartening, it's harrowing. I know of many people who have lost loved ones through neglect and violence and abuse.
She hopes change will come soon. Consultation closes on March 28. Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
And if you or anyone you know needs help, you can call Lifeline on 13 11 14 24 hours a day. Or you can contact the National Disability Abuse and Neglect Hotline. Hospital patients have been warned the latest round of staff strikes will cause inconveniences in the system as the ongoing wages feud between unions and the government continues. Launching its latest escalation today, the protests will include a stop on cleaning in some non-clinical areas, not restocking pharmacy fluids and no new hospital aides being trained. In place from 8 a.m. tomorrow, hospital management will be forced to put other measures in place to accommodate the strikes, some coming at a financial cost.
These bans will inconvenience the hospital and mean that they have to put in place other measures, but as I said, we can still guarantee the safety for patients and the community.
Last month, unions rejected a deal from the government to scrap its 2% wages cap in return for some compromises from staff. A flying billboard for Tasmania has touched down on the tarmac today. The Jetstar plane has been wrapped in pictures of Tasmanian destinations by the Launceston airport in a bid to encourage even more tourists to check out what the state has to offer.
Sky high before rolling into town. This Jetstar Airbus A320 has certainly had a facelift.
This was an investment made by the airport and we selected our iconic images, things like Cataract Gorge, Bay of Fires, Cradle Mountain and Freycinet.
The The first-time partnership even seeing the plane's interior revamped, all in the name of increasing tourism numbers to the north of the state.
We always want to go to Mona, I'll give them that, but yeah, it would be nice if our visitors sort of spread themselves about a bit before they got to Mona.
The plane will fly Jetstar's Australian domestic route for the next 5 months, and in that time transport around 150,000 passengers.
Oh, it's a great idea. It's like a flying billboard, so a lot of people get to see it both on the ground as well as in the air.
As for the cost of such a statement,
it's a substantial amount invested by the airport in this promotion, and it's been great to partner with Jetstar on this particular campaign.
And as for the effect of the flying billboard, those behind it hope it will see Launceston following suit with Hobart when it comes to booming tourism.
Launceston is Australia's 21st most populous city, but it has the 12th busiest airport in the nation, and we're very keen to attract more and more visitors to this wonderful part of the state.
Jessie Gilmore, 7 Tasmania News.
The Commonwealth has poured $700,000 into a Launceston charity, seeing a surge in the number of calls for help. City Mission says it's experiencing a 15% rise in demand each year. Today, the Federal Social Services Minister opened the chequebook for the welfare organisation.
This emergency relief funding of over $722,000 going to Launceston City Mission over the next 4.5 years will assist Launceston City Mission in doing what they do, which is being a trusted place where people in need can come.
Main issue is rental stress, with the property market. That drives a lot of the conditions.
The cash will go towards running emergency relief programs.
It's shaping up as one of the most wide-open Tasmanian State League seasons in recent years, with a flurry of off-season movement at each club. The target is once again on North Launceston's back, and the reigning premiers will have their work cut out for them, having lost several of their best. They've been the most dominant club in recent years, claiming 4 of the past 5 premierships, but the tide could be turning at North Launceston.
We've lost about half 11 of our grand final side. A few experienced players like Tom Bennett, Zach Burt, Mark Walsh, Jake Pearce. A lot of experience we've lost. So,
despite the exodus, which saw many of the Bombers' best returning to their junior clubs in lower leagues, the side's skipper was defiant regarding their chances in 2019.
I'm pretty sure last year we were told we weren't as strong as years previous, and we still managed to do it.
One side punters will be keeping a close eye on to challenge for top spot will be the Bombers' northern counterparts under the guidance of new coach Mitch Thorpe, who will be looking to get done what Sam Lonergan couldn't quite achieve the past 2 seasons.
The knock on us over the last couple of years has been our ebbs and flows during seasons, and even during games we've been really inconsistent. So we need to tighten that up and become a bit harder to play against for longer periods of time.
Set to be one of the most hotly contested seasons in recent memory, with last year's cellar-dwelling club showing promise in the pre-season, the league is also set to take on board the majority of the AFL's new rule changes for 2019, bar the controversial move to limit the use of runners.
The reality is we're a developing competition and we want players to develop, and also we're mindful of the communications. The reality is that typically there's only one phone line to one bench.
And following an up and down few years for the TSL, which has seen its future under a constant cloud of doubt, its general manager is confident the dark days are over.
It's a real consolidation year. I think we can really find our feet. Hopefully there's not as much white noise about the future of the competition and whether it should or shouldn't exist.
There's more bad news for the embattled Smithton Football Club, with it making the decision this morning to pull out of the NWFL junior competition in 2019 due to lack of player numbers. It comes just weeks after the club, which is in its 100th year, was forced to pull out its senior side of the league for the same reason. The Tasmanian Tigers are in serious strife after day 2 of their Sheffield Shield clash with WA at Launceston Arena, with the home side's order bowled out a short time ago. Chasing the Warriors' 367-run first innings total, Jordan Silk and Alex Doolan got the home side off to a promising start before the Warriors attack began to fire. Matthew Wade putting on a 38-run stand, but it wasn't enough to spur on a fight back as the rest of the order crumbled around him. The visitors' attack cleaning up the Tigers' tail end before stumps, with the home side all out for 197, leaving their finals hopes in tatters. Launceston Tornadoes have welcomed the first of 3 imports joining the side this season. American recruit US power forward Brittany Hodges has hit the ground running and says she can't wait to bring it this season.
I'm a scorer, rebounder, just very aggressive team player, so I'll be very active on both ends, just communicating with my team as well. So hopefully I can just bring great energy. That's my main thing.
She'll be fantastic for us both defensively and offensively. And we're just, on the court and off the court. When we bring in our contracted players, of course we want great basketballers, but we want great people.
The Tornadoes season begins on Saturday, March 30 against the Southern Sabres at Elfin Stadium.
Good evening. A cooler start today. Lyowini dropped to -4 while Launceston warmed up to score the high of 20. Hobart 16 today, Burnie 18 and Devonport 17 degrees. Now, as expected, the temperatures remain below average. Flinders Island, Low Head, Friendly Beaches and Ooze all on 18. King Island and St Helens 17, Grove and Strawn 15. Some broken low and middle cloud over us today, bringing a light shower to the west and far south. A frontal cloud band is moving south of the Bight, while an area of low and middle cloud lies over Victoria, with more over Western Australia. Tomorrow, a front approaches Tasmania as a ridge of high pressure sits south of WA. West to northwesterlies at 10 to 20 knots, but reaching 30 knots over the southwest, while tending northerly later over the east coast. Now swells to 3 metres in southern waters. A strong wind warning is current from Tasman Island to Low Rocky Point. Heading into tomorrow, a partly cloudy 22 for Hobart, 22 and partly cloudy for Cygnet, and 23 the top for New Norfolk. 21 the high for Launceston, early fog, a mostly sunny afternoon, 20 the top for Devonport, early fog too for Campbelltown, but a fine 22 later. 20 the top for Burnie and partly cloudy, a late shower for Strawn, 19 the maximum, 21 for Smithton. For St Helens, a top of 22, a sunny day, 23 for Swansea and Fingal. UV sitting in the high range at 6 or 7. On Friday, fine after showers clear the west and far south, areas of morning fog and a frost for central parts. Fine on Saturday, but partly cloudy, once again a patch or two of morning fog. And on Sunday, showers for the north and east, but mostly fine elsewhere. Sunny in Perth tomorrow, fine as well in Adelaide and Melbourne, a shower or two in Canberra and Brisbane, while in Sydney a few heavy falls are forecast. Cloudy at the moment and 14 in Hobart, 16 and partly cloudy in Launceston, 15 right now in Devonport, Joe. Just a little spurt of warmth again for a couple of days.
Oh, it's only a little bit though, isn't it? Goodness me. Anyway, thank you very much for that, Murph. That's all from the team for now. Have a lovely evening. See you a little later. Bye-bye.